my name is Lisa Davis. I'm in Colorado Springs, and today I'm going to make for you some wonderful scones. Now typically scones are thought of as a breakfast food, but I've taken them up a notch so that they are white chocolate, raspberry, cream cheese filled scones. So let's get started. First thing that we're going to need is 2 cups of flour. I have that measured out there. Then we need 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then you're also going to need a ½ teaspoon of salt and then a tablespoon of baking powder. Now, since we're at high altitude, it's not going to be a full tablespoon. It's going to be a little less than that because with leavening, it needs to be adjusted down at higher elevations. So I'm going to take maybe just a scant tablespoon of baking powder and put that into the bowl. Okay, now all the dry ingredients are in here. Just going to take a spatula, stir that up. Now, what we need next is 6 tablespoons of cold butter. It needs to be cold because that way it's going to help increase the flakiness of the scones. So if you cut it up into smaller pieces first, that's going to help you with cutting that in. Now, using a pastry cutter, we're cutting this butter into the flour mixture. We're going to want to get the butter cut in so that you can't tell that there are large chunks of butter in there anymore. Next we have the cream cheese. I love cream cheese. The reason why I am adding cream cheese is because sometimes I feel like with a biscuit type dough, which really a scone is just basically a very rich biscuit. And I think that biscuits can be kind of dry. So what I really love about the cream cheese, adding the cream cheese into the biscuit, is you end up adding quite a bit more moisture to the dough itself. I've added 2 ounces of cream cheese, gone through the same process, because the cream cheese is already somewhat soft, although it has been chilled. I have not brought it to room temperature. Okay, now after we've cut in the cream cheese and the butter, we're going to add a ½ cup of white chocolate chips. The next thing we're going to need are 2 eggs. Then next, we're going to be adding ½ cup of cream. I tell you, this is a great recipe. Butter, cream cheese, and cream. ½ cup heavy cream. We're going to add that to the eggs. Now what we need to do next is we're going to need to just fork stir the eggs and the cream together. We're not going to whip the cream and the eggs. Just going to kind of beat it gently so that you can see you have a pretty good mixture of the two, so that the egg yolks are broken, but it's not whipped at all. Okay, in goes our wet ingredients into our dry. So now we add the 2 together. We aren't doing a really hard stir. We just simply want to combine the 2. We want to be able to keep the batter so that it has not been overmixed. Next thing we do is we put it out on the counter. You still see that it has yet to come together. Just going to gradually kind of start just pulling it in to the center. What we do now, just going to fold it over 2 more times again. Make sure it's good. So next what we're going to do is we're going to be rolling out our dough into a rectangle. Putting a fairly generous amount of flour on the countertop. We want to get it so that the dough sticks as little as possible to the counter. Roll out our dough until it's roughly about half of an inch thick. It won't be perfect, but that's okay. Let's see what that measures out at. The dimensions here are about 14 inches long by about 10 inches across, and that's just about right. Probably what's more important is you get it about the right thickness. Now we're going to set this aside just for a minute while we work on our filling. Now what we want to do is take the remainder of our cream cheese, which is the 6 ounces we have left, put that in our bowl, add 3 tablespoons of sugar, and a half teaspoon of vanilla. Now we're going to beat this up with our mixer until it's light and fluffy. Now we want to scrape the bowl down. Maybe just give it one more good mix. Now we're going to put the cream cheese mixture on top of our dough, but we're only going to spread it on half. All right, perfect. What we're going to do now is we're going to top the cream cheese mixture with about 1.5 tablespoons of raspberry jam. Now I like the seedless raspberry jam just because it makes so there's fewer seeds. Putting it on in very small amounts. You notice that I'm not spreading on the jam because what I kind of am trying to achieve is just those nice pockets of the jam. Take the 1/2, fold it over very carefully over the top of your filling. Compress the edges together a little bit just so it seals in the cream cheese and the jam. And then we cut it into squares. This size, this side in half. And now, what we do now is we place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet. I really like to use parchment paper because that way when some of the filling oozes out, and some of it will ooze out, then you're not dealing with a sticky, messy pan. Now we put them in an oven that's been preheated to 350 degrees. After 20 minutes, the scones are done. They're so good. You can see some of the jam and the cream cheese oozing out of these. We're gonna let them sit just 10 minutes maybe, just let them cool down a bit. Okay, so to serve these are still warm. One on a plate. Have to add a little bit of whipped cream. A few raspberries to complement the jam. There on the side, and enjoy. That is so good. You have the warm white chocolate chips, the incredibly creamy cream cheese filling with just a hint of the raspberry jam. These are so good. You're going to love them.